Ready.
I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
God.
Yep. Sweat Equity Podcast and streaming show, the #1 comedy slash business slash comedy podcast in the world.
Do you even care? Do you even care?
Pragmatic entrepreneurial advice with real raw dog talk. 2020's best small medium enterprise business sponsored podcast in the United States from Lux Global Excellence Awards, proudly hosted by Lux Life Magazine. We also won 2021's version of that. We're also winners of 2021's best podcast and streaming entertainment studio, Eastern United States of America Media.
East of the Mississippi.
Innovator Awards.
One that's badass.
2021,
over in Arkansas.
hosted by, you guessed it, Corporate Vision Magazine. Listen to us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, your mom's Walkman. It's right on her fanny pack. Just pick it up, listen to us, share this podcast with someone trying to get their hustle on. We got a great guest. We got Power business attorney Stephen Fantetti on the blower. This episode is sponsored by Warby Parker. If you're watching the video of this, I'm wearing my Warby Parker glasses right now.
Look at you.
WarbyParkerTrial.com/sweat, like Keith Sweat. Get you five free pairs to try on at home. Send them back if you hate all 5. You go 0 for 5, you can send them back. You can get 5 more. You can just do that in an endless loop. WarbyParkerTrial.com/sweat. Get your prescription in there. Mine's got my prescription. I just typed it in. And then these,
Autofill, baby.
These fit my Peyton Manning huge noggin.
Do have a Peyton Manning-like head, yes.
Peyton Manning laughs at my forehead size. WarbyParkerTrial.com/sweat. Puts a little shekels in our podcast bank account. Hooks you up. Let's get this party started. Howdy toddy.
What about my sweat equity? Sweat equity. Sweat equity. My sweat equity. My sweat equity. What about my sweat equity?
Power business attorney, M&A specialist. What else? Life coach.
Sweater wearer.
Fancy sweater wearer.
Real nice
Life
sweater.
coach.
Yeah, but you're de facto life coach. How about that? You're not one of those. I realized that could be a pejorative as I was saying it. I was like, every life coach
You're
I've
my
met,
hero, bro.
every life coach I've met, I'm like, I would commit suicide if you were my life coach. You would fail at it.
You want to live how to live, bro?
FantettiLegal.com. Any other plugs, sir?
I was going to say all the stuff I do you don't remember after all this time. Nah,
I've tried to find that intro, man. I wrote an actual beautiful intro one day, and I couldn't find it. I couldn't find
That's
it in my
okay.
Evernote.
We're not here for an intro. So what's going on with you guys? How are you? It's been a while.
I know. We need you as a resident guest. You know,
I'm ready. I've been hoping. I've been waiting to get back on. I appreciated the call when you got me on the blower, as you called it, from Succession, as they say the other day.
Well,
Yeah.
we were both at the Bucks game, and we
Last night.
didn't get
Monday
the
football.
high five Top Gun style, but
Yeah.
or Redskins style. Didn't they do one like that?
Huh?
Watching the football team.
As a celebration?
No, the Redskins. Irving Fryer, didn't he do like a high up, high
Real
five
high.
in the air, and then slap on the ground?
Man,
That's
that's a deep pull.
That is.
Do you remember Irving
that's what-
Fryer's
that's what the
touchdown
ladies-
celebration dance?
That's what the ladies
Wait,
call
you don't
me.
like football?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so Law called me even after the game. We were talking, and he's like, "You ready to do the pod tomorrow?" I was like, "I'm as ready as Kendall Roy to take over the company." Let's go.
Ooh, don't ruin season 3. I'm not there yet. I'm catching up.
No, my bad.
Oh, well, we can't even talk about it then. You don't even know what's about to happen.
I know.
You
Well,
need-
you were
listen, you
secretly
need to
watching
catch
it.
up.
I wasn't secretly watching it.
You've never been like, hey, Succession's a good show in the last 2 years.
You don't listen to a word I say.
What?
Ever.
What'd you say?
I would talk about it all the time. And I was just like, I guess he just doesn't like it.
No, I probably just hadn't listened to it yet, so I purposely just shut down like my kids.
Right.
Yeah, and by the way,
Yeah.
congrats. I don't think we've said it on the show, but second kid, you're doing a
Yeah.
lot of stuff. How about any tips for the entrepreneur that is they got kids going and how to balance that
Switch
out?
to man.
Yeah, I would say you have to sacrifice a little bit of sleep to get your business done. I know that's not what people want to hear, but I'll just be straight up honest with you. At the end of the day, if you want to make gains and strides, got to sacrifice a little bit of sleep. You got to get that extra work done, burn the midnight oil when everybody else is sleeping, and it'll pay off. Trust me.
You lost a lot of people at sacrifice.
Yeah. And less sleep? No. I mean, I sleep like Anne Frank, so my problem is trying to get on a regimen, or how I assume she slept. But like,
let's think of a different light sleeper.
It's pretty funny though.
Yeah.
I know. I just want you to have a new one.
It's just dark.
I hear it all the time.
But look, you're going to hear a lot of repeated jokes. That's the dad bod lifestyle.
No, really?
Give me a second one though. Besides that one, if that wasn't a good enough
Keep
one
going,
for you
man.
listeners.
Give
The second one I would say is if you're going to work late, at least there's different things going on in the world at different times while the U.S. is sleeping. Believe it or not, the sun doesn't set and rise on the U.S. empire.
What?
Korean ping pong tournaments instead of NFL football or whatever.
Australia's all opposite of
China's
us?
doing a lot of things. Their markets and economies are open when ours are closed. So I would say my point is you can find out a lot of things that are going on and get ahead of the game before the U.S. markets open sometimes by finding out what's going on elsewhere in the world, whether it's supply chain issues, issues with supplies. I know I was trying to get some builds done on some homes. And, you know, you can tell items are going to be more expensive. Steel is going to be more expensive. Wood, you'll know that ahead of time. You can start planning. You can sometimes plan your month or your quarter just based on what you're seeing going on within 24 to 48 hours in a different part of the world. So that's another part of advice. That
So what's the routine? What's the routine for this? How do you get
I
up
want
in
to
the
talk
morning?
about supply chain issues after the routine.
Yes.
That's a more important thing to talk about. What do you mean? What's the routine?
No, well, the show is really to dispense advice from others. And so it's like, you know,
He wants to know what time
how do
you wake
do
up.
you have like a regimen for looking at this stuff? Okay, I just opened up Apple News.
Start with
app,
China,
and I
move
was
on to
like,
the
ugh.
Philippines, you know, venture into
I mean,
Russia.
to keep it, I don't know how much time we have, but to keep it simple, I mean, the way I set my clock and my time is I want to get up at 4 a.m. every day. And before I go to the gym, I check the news and find out things that were going on while I was sleeping or things that could be coming up. And then obviously you could look at what the legislature might be voting on that day or what could be going on there. If you
Obviously,
didn't
I do
know.
that.
And then when you get back from doing everything you have to do, you know, parenting, getting ready for work-wise, get your workout in, check emails. Obviously, the workday is going to start, the market's going to open, but then eventually you're going to get to the nighttime. Markets are closed. Different parts of the world are waking up when you're getting ready to go to bed, so you can check on what they're going to be doing. And so you can obviously read different news outlets. You can look at, you know, how the markets close, what the commodities are like, and then you can look obviously what the markets are going to open at elsewhere in the world, and you can use all that to your advantage. So it's kind of just staying up. Like I said, you sacrifice sleep for those reasons. It's not just working, it's part of it, but even when you're not actually thinking you're working or billing hours like you do in my job, sometimes you can still be working by doing research and reading and doing things like that.
You book in your day essentially with
That's it.
trying to
That's
look
it.
at
You
that.
break it up into blocks.
With purpose.
Yep.
We need to
looking
start
at-
talking like that. We need to start referring to things. What time is the market open then? And
I know.
talk about the market all the time. People think
feel
we're,
like-
you know.
I just want to say
I
out
was like,
loud
is
to
it
a party.
Fitzetti a lawyer?
Yeah. I just want to
He's
say
way better at
the
stuff
yen
than
is
we
up
are.
again.
Easing out of the law a little bit now. as
I'm
we're
gonna start
getting there.
calling you at 4 a.m., bro. 4 a.m. buddies now.
I'll be
Now
up.
that
I'm
I know.
like Jocko Willenick, but I don't take pictures on my watch and put it on my Instagram.
I know. I want
Not
to be like,
yet.
hey, Jocko, I want to take a picture of my
Not yet.
calendar doing it for 20 years, dude.
I'm a huge Jocko fan, though. I love
Right,
that
I
guy.
know.
Fanteti's
Like, oh,
got
you're so cool.
the Jocko's a good Instagram example, microcosm. Fanteti's a microcosm example. I think more of the rock schedule of just like how are you doing all these things in a day?
Right.
Do you actually do
man.
them all, or are you an AI?
Got to.
You're an AI robot.
Yeah.
Time warping technologies.
Supply chain. So I've never heard this term more in the last like 4 months. That
You gotta look it up.
No, I know what it is, but I'm saying like
Yeah,
I was a
no, it's
dork
true.
because I would say it in like
Right.
referencing something, and they're like, "Pfft."
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I don't like wasting food if I don't have to because I feel about the supply chain of it getting from where it was grown. I had to get
Yep.
through 3 different distributors to get to the grocery store for me to buy
Yep.
it, to take it home. And I think I try not to waste as much or be conscious of it.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's like a
Doesn't it blow your mind that they can make money off of a 99-cent like frozen vegetable? when you think about it that way, about all the shit they have to do to get it there, and you're like, you're still making money on this. You're telling me that?
It ain't a lot, but yeah.
It's like 1% margins. I get that.
Right.
But still, it blows my mind.
Still. Yeah. I mean, we need Farm Aid back. We need that big concert to help out the
bring
farms.
AIDS into this all the time.
I've got a red AIDS watch. See, I'm for stopping AIDS, me and Bono.
I think you guys won. I think it's over.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh my God.
So supply chain, how's that affecting, business that from your standpoint? You mentioned real estate wise, we had William Henson on, who's a builder in Arkansas, and he was about 5 months ago, and he was telling us, we were looking up the stats. It's like he can't find enough lumber to build.
Nope.
And then
face the same problem.
And then when he does, I think we looked it up. It was 323%. Priced
markup
gouge.
Yeah.
I would call that gouge. But the market demands what the market demands. So, whatever.
Yeah. I guess I don't know if you want to call that a market demand. I mean, I guess if you say inflation is a market demand, I guess it is. It does have to do also with supply and demand, because obviously demand is supply is going to be obviously inverted with it. So, I mean, you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, he's right. I mean, that does slow down production with real estate. It's caused an issue. There's already a housing shortage as there is in America. And of course, with the market being inflated as it is, and there's less assets out there to be bought, there's less assets even to build. So, and if you can't build them because there's the supplies, obviously that creates a big issue. But in that market, so I mean, every industry is being hit differently. That's just the one for the construction side of it. But I mean, in terms of like the global supply chain issue, if you really tried to narrow it down, I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day about this that was asking me about my thoughts on it. And I was basically telling him, it's these everyday 99-cent things that you don't really think about that will ever come up. You could say a pandemic's one. I mean, you could say if there's even a recall on beef or chicken or something, you can't go and eat that, and what that would do to just people's everyday living, because everything you buy is usually beef or chicken related sometimes, unless you're vegan or something. But
you got kids, you got chicken nuggets out the yin.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But these are like market disruptors, life disruptors.
Right.
But what the supply chain is really doing, obviously, is it's slowing the ability for the economy to continue to move at a rate where you don't have inflation. Because again, when goods are scarce, people know they can jack the goods up on them, or the price up on them, because people have no choice to get them. If there's a lot of them, then obviously that price comes down because that demand isn't there. And that's simple economics 101. But what we're seeing, the main root cause of this, which is an argumentative point with the root cause, but I think there's several you could point to it. One of them obviously had to do with the pandemic. There's a lot of international trade and shipping that occurs, where a lot of these people coming from these countries that are involved in that logistical type transport, that aren't vaccinated. And so they're going to come to the border sometimes, and they can't unload or unload because they're in a country's port where they're not vaccinated. They have to keep their ship out in port until they can have somebody else flown in that actually is from their country and is available to work and familiar with the goods and has the type of authority to sign bills of lading and all these different things when these transactions occur, or to even do the reviews or inspections of goods when they come off. So a lot of that was causing problems and has caused a big delay. So that's only one factor of several others.
Not to mention on state level, I didn't realize that there's mandates on a state level, because I kind of just got COVID news fatigue.
Sure. And everybody did.
Yeah. So it's like, I didn't know. I was working with a client, and they're like, we had a mandate in October.
Yep.
We couldn't, half our staff couldn't be in office. And it was like, ooh. And
that's what those numbers mean.
And states have a lot more power with a lot of those kind of mandates. Federal level doesn't really do it as much as doesn't have as much power on it like a everyday level.
There was no federal legislation. The states were in a situation to obviously dictate their own laws.
Because it'd be unconstitutional, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the 10th Amendment obviously gives the states the rights to govern where the federal government has not already. So, yeah, I mean,
I've got it tattooed on the lower small of my back. I know.
There you go. Right next to your, never mind.
My Chinese shipping symbol.
I take that back immediately.
It's actually the symbol for the 10th Amendment. So it kind of works out.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, that's a little bit of back. I mean, there's a couple other issues. There's some issues there's some border disputes and things coming in. There's issues with tariffs that still are outstanding. And then obviously, you have your own geopolitical issues when there's certain goods that can't move the way they want. Gas is one of them, which we're seeing now. You saw in the news today, right, that the U.S. wants to tap the SPR to try to make sure that they could try to bring down the price of gas. So they're going to tap into the strategic petroleum reserve that the U.S. has. Take oil and gas out of the U.S. that it's already storing, which it's not technically supposed to use. It's more of a safe hold, but they're going to use that to try to help with the shortage and try to bring the price down. Whether the Biden administration is doing that for political reasons or they're doing it to really just help out the economy, that's a whole different side.
Go back to SPR.
Sure.
Strategic Petroleum Reserve.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's been going on since OPEC was created OPEC, excuse me, and when the U.S.
Googling
even in the 50s, in the 50s when they really started doing drilling in the Middle East, the U.S. realized that they have the ability when they made a lot of their, allies over there. Some of those governments were probably put in place by the CIA. I think that's kind of already been heard. And they were able to pump a lot of oil and gas out of the Middle East. And the United States realized they may not be able to do it. They may not be able to obviously do it forever. So they might as well start storing a lot in the U.S., created the SPR for that reason, to reserve a lot in the event that there is ever types of embargoes and things like we saw under the Carter administration in the 70s and stuff. So once the Gulf War happened and the U.S. realized that we're going to have a good enough of a foothold in the region to get oil, they were able to start storing more and more barrels of oil in the United States. But that's what it's there for, is to help in situations like this, if this is one of those grave situations where they really can't bring oil in from overseas.
So, wasn't it like that thing that we actually get most of our oil from Canada, right?
Part of it too. I mean, there is that. I mean, some of those pipelines are being blocked. If you haven't already heard about that, a lot of it even comes from the Alaska and up northern regions as well.
You're the dual citizen. I go to you for this.
Well, there's a lot of environmental groups. Remember, even Obama was trying to help get that passed, and people were trying to block it. I mean, you even saw that with the infrastructure bill. There was people who were voting against that, Democrats as well. Ilhan Omar and Cortez and all that whole block.
Talk to us like we're fine. What is the infrastructure bill?
So the infrastructure bill, there was a $1 trillion infrastructure bill that President Biden and his administration just passed in Congress.
Like that.
What it was for, no, it's good. This is a good bill. This should have been passed a while ago because the United States has bridges, roads that are failing.
From the 50s and 60s, right? A lot of
this bill, This bill puts that money back into the economy, will create jobs, will obviously be able to help fix some of this failing infrastructure in the U.S., which is important. But I mean, some of these representatives in Congress were voting against it because they didn't think there was enough, green type aspects to it, where what they were going to be doing in terms of the actual work itself or anything being built or the products being used or, how much gasoline is going to be used to run all the machines and things like that and excavators, whatever, it wasn't green enough. I think that's obviously a concern you have, but I think you got to fix what's really broken first to really make sure you can even be around much longer, to even, deal with other types of problems. So
you want to work big to small? That's not how government does it.
No, I think you have to sometimes look at it a different way. I mean, this had to be done, but people are voting against it. But again, like any other bill, there's going to be other issues in them. I mean, they had a cryptocurrency tax amendment attached to this.
I heard about that.
They're trying to tax crypto. What? Yeah.
Because it's like,
this bill started taking on a mind of its own. It's important.
It's alive.
If something's like lucrative enough, the government's going to be like, hey, what's up? Like there's a sales tax. I realized I hadn't talked about it on air, but I forgot about this. Every time I buy something online, there's like a sales tax on it for the state. And I'm like, oh, that really got initiated in, and they're making it every sale. You make sure that ain't on us. That's a digital sales tax for e-commerce stuff. And I was like, whoa, shit. Okay. So
they're going to get it all, baby.
I know. It's just one of those things. It's like, ooh, there's a lot of transactions going on, and we should have some of that because
it's a way to get revenue. I don't know if it'll be enough, revenue the government's looking to get from it, but I think it's a smart thing to do. Again, it's like any other thing under the tax code. It's a realized event.
You'd have to do a marginal
gains tax
if you made any money off of crypto in the year and sold.
And that's exactly right. And the government's just making sure that aspect's being protected. And they should use some of that money to obviously help with the infrastructure. They can use less money from other taxpayers and doing that and people that are in that space. Obviously, I think that's obviously worth looking into, just like they would tax anything else. But yeah, I mean, like I said, that infrastructure bill is good for America. I think it's something that's been needed for a long time. I actually thought the Trump administration was going to pass one because he was such a builder. At least is what I thought he was known for, and he didn't even get one. really seem to pay a lot of attention to one. So, but this is good. I think obviously worrying about, green new, aspects are important, but I think right now, things have been, going by the wayside for so long. I think you just got to get this bill passed and start building and building back better, as they say. And that's that presentation that the administration gave. I think that's smart. I think you have to. I think it's going to help the economy, and I hope it's going to create more jobs and hopefully get more people off the couch and working again, which is very important.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, I mean, how does this dictate the labor market? Because look, we've talked a lot on the show about unemployment was so good for a lot of people that you couldn't beat it, even money, like to go back to work a lot of the time, because they're like, I'm waiting until this stops. And I think work is so important, especially for men, just in a very broad stroke way. But I think guys have to work, or I don't know. It's just something.
Well, when the federal government does that, and they're also basically in control of the money supply, like just kind of, pay these people more than unemployment, like a good bit more for their work, and then and then everything gets inflated, and that's fine. But that's how it gets going. But then
the value of the dollar gets a lot worse.
Right, but they're doing that anyways.
I know, but you can't. We'll turn into fucking. What's Venezuela?
No, I'm just saying the people that they're hiring for these jobs, they pay them well. They pay them even more than what's expected.
It is interesting though, because it's funny, if the labor market's supposed to be opening up more, and you'd think that as you go into a new year, there's going to be more opportunity when you have bills like this being passed and different types of industries growing. And a lot of people weren't working. I mean, the unemployment rate's still low, where it's supposed to be. If it's hovering around 5 or 6% or even below that, you're really in a good space considering coming out of a pandemic, or at least at the very tail end of it, hopefully, is where we're at. But what some people are failing to realize, some are really realizing it because I see it every day, that the worker right now has the most leverage than it probably ever has in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right now, wages and salaries for positions have gone up. People are leaving jobs left and right because they can get higher salaries somewhere else. There's good and bad to that. It's good that the worker has that freedom of choice and the ability to make more money in their own rational pursuit of their own profits, of course. But at the same time, I would caution them to be very careful to not just chase the dollar despite a higher salary being better, because a lot of those people, when the economy does do a course correction, they will be the first ones on the chopping block if they have bloated salaries, so that companies can keep stay afloat.
This new guy?
Well, yeah. So I would just caution. It's important if you are someone who has obviously a 9-to-5 job and you're in that space and you're looking for the next salary, and you see your friends skipping jobs to go chase that higher one. I'd be very careful. I'd make sure you're in a good mean bracket where at least if you can't make yourself indispensable enough, you should certainly start trying to do that at your new job. But obviously, you really want to make sure you're in a place where you're not going to be someone who's only going to be first to let go because your salary is just so high. It's so outside of the norm because you can get it now, but you wouldn't get it in regular, normal economic times, not involved from a post-pandemic or, like I said, tail-end pandemic, where companies are scrambling to find people because they lost so many people for different reasons.
I do think it's good, though, that these companies that not necessarily, me leaving, but you have people leaving their jobs because it makes companies then be better at keeping people and having a nice place to work.
There's
and
a big focus.
That's a great.
The flip
That's
side
a great point.
I see
that's
a lot of articles about
Or maybe we are
retention.
paying our employees too low.
Right.
I mean,
Or
that's
that.
exactly right.
Exactly. Step it up.
It's good that these things come in waves in a way, because it makes you kind of tighten up. Like, the crash of 08, 09 or whatever year we're calling it. Like, yeah, it was terrible. It was devastating for a lot of people, but it made kind of everybody go like, I need to get my shit together.
Corrective.
Yeah. And so I feel like COVID in a weird way is kind of like that. I wish it was more health related to kind of be proactive in that way. Because you want to talk about where we can find money. You can take it out of like the $40 trillion healthcare costs that are avoidable, voluntarily. But if anybody wants to listen to episode 333 with Orlando Haynes, he's like a badass recruiter. He came on and was talking about in the kind of white collar jobs right now, it's harder to find talent than it's ever been. And now, and people are realizing the leverage, because it's unlike any other time where you have access to this information.
Yeah, think about how weird that is for him, because it's like, wait, you're not going to leave me, are you?
I think
you
it's a really good
stay
thing.
here, and if they're really good,
I think it's
I
like
leave, though.
it's like the NBA
Ooh.
players.
And then
They
he's
were
gotta-
like, hey, we pretty much like we're pretty important to this league.
Right. You watch the old white
We are
owners
the
play
league.
basketball instead?
Well, they
Which
really
I kind of
kinda-
actually would, now that I think about
they
it.
implemented a lot more change by leveraging what they knew they had, and I think that's like just my dumb guy example of I think like a lot of people are still stifled in positions because they're scared. There's that fear of even looking elsewhere because you could get fired.
Yep.
But man, there's so many people everybody I talk to that's a business owner is like struggling to find employees, and it was already bad for the trades before all of this, and now it's
You're
even
right.
harder. Oh man! All right, but the labor. Where am I going to get to?
Nobody ever knows.
Damn
man.
it! I had another question in this area. Well, the labor, like,
Close your eyes and think about it. Everybody be quiet.
how do you feel about
Nobody
the
talk.
labor
It's a
market's really
podcast.
dictated on the low skill side? I think we were talking about this last night, but I can't remember anything we talked
Why?
about. Honestly,
We weren't.
because it was Monday Night Football Bucks game.
Yeah.
I walked home like a good citizen.
Because of all the DUIs.
In my orange jumpsuit, looking like an international coke dealer.
Did he escape
Creamsicle
from
orange,
somewhere?
though. Creamsicle orange.
Creamsicle orange with a red shirt
Uncle
underneath.
Bruce on the
Yeah.
side.
Sweaty and just greasy from eating shitty Little Caesar pizza at the stadium. But like Amazon has so much. Speaking of supply chain and kind of labor markets, Amazon dictates the market in like no to low skill workers, and that's kind of your minimum wage kind of dictator now.
Right.
It's not really it's one company that owns a lot of that kind of pie of no to low skill workers, entry level workers. What do you think? What do you think about that? Does that scare you? Are they monopoly? Are they
Monopolizing.
Just wait till they get the robots that have to do all of it.
Well, that's the thing.
They don't have to do any of that. They don't need
actually
any
have
labor. Not wrong.
they have the R&D probably already working on that.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, it's like when Seattle's like raise the minimum wage to $25 or whatever they said, and then like they're like okay, and they did it, and then McDonald's was like cool.
Hey, do you see this
you
new
guys
robot
are-
we've had for 6 months?
You now order from an
But
ATM.
we heard you were pregnant,
No,
so we kept the robot in the back.
No,
but now we got to bring the robot out.
They replaced everybody that takes the orders inside and drive-through with touchscreens, and it's like
Yeah,
this
we got it.
touchscreen does a lot better.
Right.
Except those fucking Coca-Cola ones that never work.
Oh no.
Yeah.
The ice cream machines
Because
at McDonald's don't
I
work.
mean, there are
Yeah.
people with Coca-Cola covered fingers
I know.
smushing onto a plastic screen, like the first screens ever made that worked that way. Like,
Right.
you touch it one time, it's done.
The
You're
Mega
selecting
Touch
all 9 at one time.
the Mega Touch video game touchscreen thing that you only see at shitty bowling alleys is better than that Coke fountain machine. You can have any Coke product,
Right.
except none of them.
Or all of them.
'Cause you can't
because
fucking
they're
touch
all
the screen.
selected.
By the way, that's how my hand is all the time, like trying to touch my iPhone. It's always sweaty, so it's kind of smudged like that
I get it now.
when I'm texting. Yeah.
That's a good metaphor. I get it
So
now.
so what? Yeah. So your question was, do you think that Amazon's monopolizing the market on kind of low wage workers?
Was that the question?
You rehosted the
I
show.
thought it was about like
Yeah.
Coke
I
or
just
something.
No, that
figure
was
that.
that was it. That was more or less.
So I mean, I think that's a fair question. I think you can obviously look at it in two ways and just pick one side of the fence, which I don't think is a smart thing to do. I think there's different points at play. Number one, the mean U.S. federal minimum wage, I believe, is around $7.25 an hour. The lowest wage you can make at Amazon right now is $15. So they've doubled it. So they made sure that these workers aren't at the lower spectrum side of a low wage,
and
hourly
Walmart,
worker.
according to this Bloomberg article I have, Walmart went up hourly wage by $1 to $16.40 an hour.
Yeah, and so Amazon raised it completely more. So where would you want to work? So my answer to first your questions, you could say that they are monopolizing by offering more, but I think they're trying to offer their workers more because they expect more from the workers. As you know, they have quick turnaround times. They have to produce a certain amount of outputs. I mean, a lot of that
They have cameras on you when you drive. If you look at your phone, they
I've
shoot
never
you in
worked
the
or,
head. They're snipers.
The
I've
bathroom
never worked
incidents.
there, obviously.
Yeah.
Been in their facility, but I do know that obviously they have certain metrics to meet, like any other employer would obviously want from their employee. But I think obviously that brings people into the door. Number one. Number two, from what I've been told, you do have the ability to still move up a lot at Amazon. And sometimes people who may not be able to get a career somewhere else, they may not have had, those 4-year degrees or don't have a master's degree, or maybe they just haven't and they've only graduated high school and they're trying to find a decent paying job to kind of start their life off. It obviously may not be their life job forever at $15 an hour. But if you have the ability to move up in a company as big as Amazon, and there is space to, you can eventually become a manager. They're opening up Amazon.
Bezos went to space.
So
that's a very important. If you get anything from this episode, I was talking about this last night with a couple of business owners before the game, and I was like, you want to retain people, you got to stop thinking about it in like an insecure way, like a guy that's like, my girl's cheating on me, I know it, and like you're just manifesting it.
Fine, leave. I don't care.
Right? Like,
well, I just think,
but like to retain people, here's Chick-fil-A. How do they get to say my pleasure and never you're welcome? Because they have these people on a path. They go, here's your career path if you stick with us. If you stick with us, there's a trajectory. There is a chutes and ladders way to move up. Yeah. But like, so that's what I was telling these guys. I go, have you sat down with all your employees? Because it was all soft skills, kind of soft keyboard soft people. And I was like,
do you know who your boss is?
Have you sat down and asked them what they want to do within the company for the next couple of years? And have a vague path for them? Like, that's why people don't want to hang around sometimes.
Like, I think this is.
I just know no workplace is going to be perfect. But I think people at the end of the day are looking for certain things. Am I going to be paid a fair enough wage? Am I going to have an opportunity to develop my skills for my next job potentially, and am I going to have the ability to move up? Am I going to have benefits? These types of things. People want to be incentivized if they're going to work somewhere. And obviously if they're not getting that somewhere else, and there's only a limited amount of places that are doing that for them based on the education, skill set, or experience that they have, sometimes you have no choice. And one of the biggest companies in the world is the only one that may be offering what they can get. They have no choice. And then obviously, workers can make their own decisions from there if it's a bad environment or they think it's intimidating or it's not. And I think that's fair. I think people should have that choice if they don't like it. But I think that's where Amazon opened the door, Law, to really get to the root of your question as to why they can bring people in that regard. And it is obviously the hope and maybe even that dream of moving up in a company to certain levels where your pay increases, your responsibility increases, your position increases. Maybe you can get stock options. It's a great stock to own. I tell people, you should, be long on any Amazon, perhaps even some Facebook, Tesla stock, short the rest of the market. I mean, those 3 stocks are going to be fine for a while. So, I mean, that's kind of the way to
write those one down.
Big short knowledge. Yeah.
I forgot I'm already write it down.
What are you, Dr. Michael Byrne? Oh, I forgot what the guy's name is.
Anyway, well, I hope that helped answer.
Yeah. It definitely did. And like, it reminded me of another thing. Maybe you're a cash-strapped business owner and you need to retain really key people and you're worried about losing them. Just look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs and go to those like kind of 2 bottom rungs and just try to look at some of that as like, these are free things you can, hey, good job on this.
Cosmic hug.
Wait, I like it. Grade 10 sociology class references. And I love it. Good job. It all goes back to the basics. I like that.
But it all goes back to that in a lot of ways. You get so granular on what you're doing sometimes with the company, managing it, all this stuff. You do have to take a step back and take that unreflected life is not worth living kind of business style on it and go like, okay, am I congratulating wins? Am I too hard on the losses?
Right.
Am I keeping myself accountable so I can lead servant leadership kind of stuff? Like those.
Remember, those people have lives.
Golden rule.
When they leave, they have like their own thoughts. They're a whole person. They're only here for like 8 hours.
Are you present when you're actually asking about them?
Right. Exactly.
How many dead eyes have you had where they're like, how's your kids?
And I'll put it in my dossier on you.
And it's just like they're thinking about the next thing they got to do.
Right.
Anyway, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on. We'll have you on as a resident. I don't know what's so funny. I guess we're really funny.
Weird audio thing at the end there. I don't know.
Look,
totally
Zoom
normal.
is glitchy. I blame China.
It is China.
Fantetti, appreciate you coming on. Let's hang out soon, man.
Absolutely. We definitely will. You guys have a great Thanksgiving.
You too.
You too, man.
See you.
All right,
What about my sweat equity? Sweat equity. Sweat equity. My sweat equity. My sweat equity.